What Captain Cope wants is a brief rundown of the strategy of why I go Graspool against Jax and Malphite. And I will add Gragas, and I will add Tamkench, and probably some other champions that I cannot think of right now. The reason is, I mean, we could give the example. Like, so here is exactly what Grasp gave me. Grasp gave me an extra pool of damage, some healing. Okay, Demolish had a lot of value. Second Wind also had a lot of value. 4k here, 2k here, 1.6k here. That's like a lot of HP. And then I went Boots and Demet. I run this whenever lethal tempo won't matter later in the game. So you don't just play a game for the first 4, 5, 8 minutes, because it's very rare that you win a game before like 12 minutes or let's say 15 minutes. But what happens at 15 plus minutes, or let's say 20 minutes or 25 minutes, when Snash is up and you're facing a Malphite, you're facing a Gragas, you're facing a Jax. Let's say that hypothetically, you got kills and you're ahead. You're 3-0 and the opponent is 0-3. Well, now, if the opponent, the Malphite, the Gragas, the Jax, goes Tabais, Wardens, and that's it, well, with the design of their champions, you cannot bring them on side and just straight up dive them. Cannot, like, they can defend on you. They can actually maybe even win the 1v1 against you on side lane. So you get a lead and now you're forced to teamfight. But these champions, again, Jax, Malphite, Gragas, they're also better in teamfight than you. Like Jax, he can jump in, E, boop, 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 stun everyone. Zonias, jump in again, E, boop, 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 stun everyone. What is Tryndamere doing? You're running after the ADC trying to get a few auto attacks. Same for Malphite. Malphite comes, flash, ult, boom, everyone is in the air, and then the fight is already won. So what you need to do in these matchups, when you're playing lethal tempo, and let's say you got a lead because you have lethal tempo and you manage to get a lead, etc., what you do is you bring the guy on side lane, you push out the side lane, then you out-rotate. You rotate because you're Tryndamere, you're fast. You use E, you go through walls, etc., and you out-rotate. But by the time you're there with the fight, they probably have a TP, so they will TP. Now, maybe you win the fight, maybe you lose the fight. But then what do? You go back on side lane. You push the wave again. And then the guy is matching you, and now you out-rotate, and now you have like 15 to 25 seconds of number advantage to play with. And that's it. Like in games that are even, your way to have an impact against these champions with lethal tempo and the Kraken build, Kraken Navori or Straight Break or whatever you want, is this. That's how you do it. You bring the guy on side, you out-rotate, he TPs, you bring him on side again, you out-rotate, and then you have 25 seconds. And if you don't win during those 25 seconds, you don't have an impact. You're not having an impact. You have to wait like 5 more minutes. You have to wait the next TP, the next rotation, the next etc. And it's very painful. Now, of course, it can work if your team is ahead, etc. It can work. Now, what happens if you go the grass build? So, if I go the grass build and I go Hullbreaker, etc., a few things happen. I win the short trades early when against the, like, with lethal tempo, actually, like, I can win the long trades. So you don't get few kills. So I'm giving out early kills, early kill potential, early game kills potential. Okay, that's what I'm giving. I'm giving out team fighting potential. Okay, so that's 2 cons. Then what I'm getting, I'm winning the short trades and I can perma pressure. Like you've seen me against Malphite, against Gragas, against Tamkench, I'm the one pushing the lane, which is huge for the jungler. Because now I don't just get pushed in by a Malphite. I mean, of course, like Malphite, you can push him in with lethal tempo the first few levels, but after level 5 or 6 or first base, you know, like here I have the prio for the whole lane. Basically, I just have the push because I have more training power than Malphite, and I actually sustain, like the HP that I sustain in lane is insane. So Malphite doesn't have this sustain. So even if you lose trades, you win trades by out-sustaining them. Okay, so now my jungler is not at risk of being invaded. he's also in a position where he can invade if he wants to. And he's also in a position where he can play top scuttle, herald, etc. Which doesn't happen usually when you go lethal tempo, or doesn't happen after the first phase. Okay, that's good already. Then what I'm taking is that, of course, I'm also getting tanky, and these champions that I cited, they don't have a lot of damage, but it's enough to make Tryndamere ult most of the time, like Malphite. Like he can ult you Q, E, W, W autos, etc. And over time he can make you ult. But if you have Hullbreaker, he cannot make you ult. Gragas can ult you under turret, you take a turret shot, etc. and then you insta ult. But here you don't have to ult. And then the other thing, which is the most important, and it's like kind of the conclusion of that whole strategy, is that now how do I out impact them? Well, I bring them on side lane. And instead of out-rotating, waiting for that TP, looking to whatever, I just bring a wave, and all I have to do is bring a wave under the turret, and if the turret is focusing the cannon, or just the wave is under turret, I can completely ignore the opponent, and just go for the turret. And now, every wave, I can have an impact. It's one wave, one objective. One wave, one objective. And also what it does is that it completely forces my opponent to stay with me on side. Now the Malphite cannot TP on the fight and look to win it. Because if he does, look at what Jax did that last play. Jax went and tried to fight on Drake, because it's a Drake, we need to fight it, etc. But you cannot, because if you give me one wave, with one wave I can get 2 turrets and Nexus. Or I can get 2 turrets and inhib. Like you saw me bot, the play before, it was one wave. It was not even one wave, it was like 3 or 4 CS. You cannot let me on side lane. So now I apply insane pressure, and even if the guy is matching my pressure, I can still push the wave in and still get the turret. So it's like GG WP. Like there's no counterplay. The counterplay is to try to hold the wave before it arrives to the turret. But then if the opponent does that, I just go for grass procs and Triforce procs. Oop, E auto, auto, W, auto, etc. And also the final thing is that even with this setup, you can still fight and beat squishy champions. You have a ton of damage on squishy champions. You see how Soraka I kill her easily 2 times. You see how I solo killed the Nila very easily. So if they send someone who's not your basic opponent, if they send the Victor, if they send I don't know, like the Queen Maid or whoever, well, you can just completely ignore, like you can actually like kill that guy on side lane. Which you may not be able to do with Crack and Navori, because then the squishy guy also has a lot of damage and can make you ult. So it's like better in, I say that maybe 6 or 7 ways in which it was better. For like 2 ways in which it's worse. Let's go. And now I show you exactly, boom, what I talk about. That's like the second time I was playing it. So the guy is trying to hold the wave from arriving in the turret. And if he's doing that, I just auto, like E-auto, just get the grass procs, the shin procs, the Triforce procs. Boom. And I'm not looking to all in, that's not what my champ does. Just waiting for my grass procs and my Triforce. And now, because he took a lot of HP, now he's letting the wave... Okay, he's not.
Bro, what the fuck?
So if he's holding the wave, now I'm taking HP and I'm winning the trades. And now he's like, okay, I cannot hold the next wave. Well, if you're not holding the next wave, well, now I just go for the turret. And look at that, exactly, the turret's focusing the cannon. And now the cannon is like mid HP.
Nah, bro.
And I took the turret. So now I have an impact. But usually what Malphite, and I have 2 items versus 1 item, yes. But usually, and you know it, if you go Crack and Navori with versus Malphite, and he has 1 item, let's say he has a gauntlet or something, he can defend that wave. You cannot take that turret for free. He can just go and defend that turret and you don't have the damage to kill him, and you cannot dive him. And all you can do is, what I said, is out-rotate, and then he TPs. So you go back on side and you out-rotate again. Okay, gotcha, that was very... Yeah, I have a hard time like, giving brief explanations. I mean, I can if you impose it to me, if you tell me, okay, in 1 minute, etc. But then I feel like, yeah, I would say everything that's important.